You cannot predict earnings. No one can. But I'll tell you what, you can predict what might happen in the event that earnings are a blow off beat, as was the case for NVIDIA. I should really start the video by showing NVIDIA. I mean, I thought NVIDIA would get creamed following earnings. It didn't. It happened after hours yesterday, and up it went into the 500s. I think I even covered it in my video, the last video I did. And, we were basically closing above 500, which looks great because, we were above 480. But look what happens. I'm sure I said it, you know, absolute blow off top. It closes red, huge bearish engulfing. I mean, it's really bearish engulfing if it completely takes out the prior day's candle. So if it really closed like below 450, it would be the mother of all bearish engulfing candles. But for me, it doesn't get better than that realistically. NVIDIA closed pretty much red. I think after hours we're in the red. So despite opening above 500, up huge, it's a red day. And for me, and I think a lot of people just know this now, NVIDIA is done. Famous last words, but really after, I mean, everything is priced in. It's times revenue and all, just the metrics are ridiculous. And now we finally have a blow off top. Everyone's been sucked in at the 500s after hours buying. And for me, it's just going to go down. Now, look, NVIDIA is just one stock. Obviously, it's a huge part of the markets. It's one of the magnificent sevens and all this. But when everything is priced to perfection, sell. You know what I mean? Sell something. Anyway, I'm still holding my short. I think we're going to go all the way back down to this ascending support, 420, not in one go, obviously. Let's see if we can close below 450 tomorrow. But down we go. And I think NVIDIA is basically ringing the bell at the top of the market. I don't usually start off by NVIDIA, but it had a massive impact on the markets today. Really, yesterday, Wednesday was more about, the PMIs, and we had some data release. We got Jackson tomorrow, but I always said NVIDIA earnings was going to be a big deal. I also said that we're going to create a right shoulder. And I'll tell you what, today's candles really confirmed that the right shoulder will now, move downwards towards the neckline that we can close below. So S&P, look at this, pretty much at resistance, popped its head a little bit above, whatever, closed at low of day, huge bearish engulfing. It starts above yesterday's candle, closes way below it at low of day. Tomorrow, what do? We go down towards 432, the low. And whether it's right, I mean, again, Jackson, we're going to have some moves also, but regardless of the news, Monday, Tuesday, where are we? We're closing below 430. We're breaking the neckline. We're going lower in the S&P. For me, fundamentally, technically, the stars align. So I don't even know if Powell can do much to jawbone the markets. We're focused on inflation, blah, blah, the usual rule book. But technically, this is due to come back down, close below the neckline, and we're done. Nasdaq, look at this, opens right at the resistance, perfectly closes low of day, huge bearish engulfing, down over 2%. That's a decent move. Keeps going after hours. Where are we going? Back down to 354-ish, 355. Tomorrow, yeah, maybe actually, why not? Jackson will move it, but a little, upswing during the speech or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to close around here, whether it's not tomorrow, it's Monday, Tuesday. And once we close below this ascending, see you later. We're going to go back down to 340, zoom out. Look at this huge engulfing. This suggests lower. And if we go a little lower, we've got to go to 340. And to be honest, look at Dow. Look at this huge rejection here. Close at low of day, pretty much at ascending support. We have to go lower tomorrow. As soon as we pop our head below this, it could accelerate. I think we're going to close below the ascending tomorrow. We may even go and visit this 33,750-ish range. Then that's the Dow losing its longer term or medium term ascending support. Very bearish. Look at the Russell, closes below the ascending. Where are we going? Well, we're going to go to 182, maybe 180. Again, Powell may intervene a little bit, but I don't think you can stop what is technically now a favorite, which is to go lower. It's bearish. The markets are bearish. Finally, we've had this huge, ridiculous run up, this return to the norm, suckering all the bulls one more time. And now it's the total rug pull. And what better stock than NVIDIA to do it? Earnings is a beat, amazing, up 8% after hours. I looked at it, thought, my God, that's ridiculous. Maybe we just open and flush from the beginning. And we did just that, and we closed in the red. It was just the perfect script. So one thing I will say, though, the banks, although they have the same sort of candle, huge rejection, close at low of day, they weren't even red, basically unchanged. KVE, KRE, so that's impressive, but they are technically weak, and I think the markets are going to go lower. And I'm sorry, guys, but it's just too little too late. You're going to have to come back down too. So KRE back down, eventually to 40, KBE, same sort of thing, 35. And the XLF, well, yeah, same sort of thing. Maybe slower move down towards this area, but banks have to come down, markets are going to go lower. It's just simple as that. Today was huge bearish engulfing candles across the board. NVIDIA, very bearish. And, it's not just NVIDIA. I mean, Netflix, Apple, all of the usual magnificent sevens and anything else in the large cap space. So bloodbath is just beginning. We've got a long way down to go. What else should we look at? Let's look at interest rates because, okay, 1 year just sideways, creeping up, by the way. The 2 year, look at that, recovered a lot of the drop, the retracement of the other day. What did I say? I think interest rates is slowly going to creep up. We had a small retracement. We've had a nice move up. The market's had a nice day because of the retracement. Now we're back up. Markets are red. But again, I think the markets are more red because of NVIDIA. But the 2 year yield, for me, the most important one. Everyone looks at the 10 year. Yes, the 10 years is very significant. It's the worldwide barometer. It's probably the second most important. But for me, the 2 years, the most important one. That's the Fed one. And I think we're going to go up to 5.10%, 5.1%. And yeah, yields just creeping up. 5 year, also making up some retracement. 10 year, 30 year. They're all okay, not as much the longer rated yields, but still, the trend is up. The trend is up here and the trend is down in the market. So yields up. Let's look at the dollar. Now, this did surprise me. I actually thought the dollar was done with this huge bearish candle, huge rejection. Look what happened today. Just total reversal. Close at the high of day. Close at yesterday's high. Just below 104, but pretty much 104. Now, for me, 104 meant we've broken out of these descending trend lines. That's big news. But for the commodities, or at least the metals people, that's not the worst news because we've had gold not take a hit. Kind of day like today, it's not just the percentage move that it's up, but it's also the technical breakout that it's indicating for me. I mean, of course, breaking out above 104.5 is even stronger, but for me, this suggests more is coming. But gold and silver weren't really down. I'll get to gold and silver, but for me, let's just, for now, the dollar, very impressive. I really thought we were done yesterday. I was expecting a close, let's say, below 103 to confirm and move down to 102. But look at this, absolute opposite, and a close pretty much at 104. So let's see with the Fed tomorrow. That will definitely move it. So maybe it was just one last fake out and down we go, or we have continuation. And then if we have continuation, 104.5, I mean, you can't ignore that. That is just completely a rise from the ashes and stronger than ever and ready to take out the all-important 105 point whatever. I mean, 106 is really the target. And then it's blue skies for the 113, 114 zone. So watch out the dollar. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is really the decider because that's after the Fed speaks. And already we can see that it's biased to the upside. So the dollar index, very impressive. Let's look at commodities straight away because that's where you really want to see the impact of the dollar. Copper down, not too much, but down. Makes sense. Dollar's up, market's down. That's two reasons for the market for copper to go down. Those are the two main influences. So down it goes, holding on to its ascending. Again, this ascending has been breached twice, so it's not really too relevant. I'm wondering whether I should just delete it at this point, but I'll keep it anyway. It's a general line. I don't usually work with those general lines when they've been breached at least once, if not twice. Natural gas, this also was very, very insignificant day. Look at this down move. I said, look, you cannot close below 2.5. And what did it do? It went and messed with our heads. It touched 2.5, 2.51, and it closed at 2.61, 2.62. Now it's done it a few times. It's touched trend lines and looked like it's going to reverse. This time it's done it again. This, by the way, I can delete. It's completely irrelevant. It was relevant the whole time, actually, but now we've gone all the way down and touched the absolute horizontal. So it's irrelevant now. this is it now. You know, there are only two trend lines. Either you close below 2.5 or you start to close above this descending, which, by the way, let's just remember how long it dates back, how credible it is. I still favor a move to the upside, but it is really, I mean, that you got 1 or 2 or 3 days left, but either way, you're forced to break out one way or another, break out or break down. So natural gas, we have our decision imminently. I'm going to favor a move up, but look at this. It's really playing with us down here. Incredible. Very important that it didn't close below 2.5. Oil, okay, slight recovery there. It's back above 79. I still think markets go down and oil goes down. I also think the dollar, especially after today, is likely to keep going up. Let's wait until tomorrow. Might as well wait until tomorrow. That's really when you'll get a weekly close. You'll get the post-Fed Jackson Hole candle, so it'll be a lot more conclusive. But you know, if the dollar does continue to go up and the markets, I really am quite sure that it's going to keep going down. Even if we get a small bounce tomorrow, I still think we're going to go down. That favors oil going down to 74. I said that before, and I stick to that. Uranium down today, but this is irrelevant. I mean, it's up. It's just going sideways before going higher. So uranium absolutely strong. Remember, the markets are down. Uranium does follow the markets a bit, so you know it's not the biggest surprise that it's red. Plus, the dollar was up. I don't know if the dollar impacts uranium too much at all, but the market does. So down, but the technical picture for strength is not at all interrupted. So uranium can easily continue to move up to pretty much 30. All right, gold and silver. So given how strong the dollar was, gold being unchanged, even green, but unchanged in reality, is something in itself. I mean, that suggests that gold could actually hold its gains and maybe even climb, even if the dollar goes up. Which to me, the only sort of scenario where you can have the dollar going up and gold going up is if there's quite a bit of fear. And that could be excused by a market drop. So I know the last big market drop, the banking stocks, the banking crisis early this year, that was marked by the dollar going down actually and gold going up. I think you could have gold and the dollar going up at the same time if we have a market drop this time. I mean, we've just had 1 or 2 days, not back to back, where you can see that happening. And today was kind of one of those days. So, you know, we had a big move up in gold. So that would indicate, okay, a bit of retracement today. Plus we had the dollar up, still didn't retrace. So gold looks pretty decent still for a move to 1940. That's my opinion. If we have a move down, then okay, 1940, 1900 should be support if we go lower than the old low of 1885. So these two horizontal lines are support, by the way. But to the upside, I still see 1940 as resistance. Silver, okay, retraced a little bit, but after these moves, pretty decent. Not even down 1%, despite the dollar strength and despite the huge move we've had up. If we have a drop, then I would suggest for, you should say 23.8, but it wasn't the strong, it was resistance, by the way, intraday is 23.8. I remember that. Where are we? It just touched it here, broke out and then retested it, but it kind of went through it quite well. So it shouldn't be the biggest, maybe it's more 23.4. It's probably gold that's going to create the support for silver this time. So I think if the metals drop, then just watch gold at 1900. It should curl, and that's wherever silver is at that point. That's probably where silver will find support. Otherwise, obviously, silvers should have decent support at, you know, if we really retrace a lot, which I don't see happening unless the dollar index just really goes wild, and that'll take next week's action also. Yeah, 22.5-ish around there, obviously, this big zone. And remember, this huge ascending support, which is getting higher and higher with every passing day. So if we do go down again, I mean, this is super strong. 22.5, obviously, I'm talking about above 22.5, super strong support. But, you know, look, if gold goes higher, with or without the dollar, forget the dollar, whatever happens, if gold goes higher, silver, 25. We're looking for 25, absolute resistance, the old high, and then 26, and then is the rocket ship stuff. You know, once you close above 26, well, you all know what happens. 27, 28, 30. I've got those lines in. I've had them for a while. So silver, very, very strong. Despite today's day, I still think that was quite strong because, again, the dollar was up and we've had a huge move. So not the biggest retracement. Let's look at the miners. They also had a good day, right? They opened red and went straight away green. Look at this. Okay, forget the first candle. It was just basically gap down and then just went green and pretty much closed unchanged, whereas stocks did the opposite, right? NVIDIA had the opposite. It just opened green, just went red and kept going down. So the miners acting a little bit inversely to the markets. Like to see that. That's with the dollar up. That like to see that too. GDXJ, exactly the same chart. Basically, they closed unchanged, if you ask me. When you got the Nasdaq down 2% and NVIDIA losing like almost 10% gap open. I mean, a little less, I think it was 8%, but that's pretty decent stuff. And let's just zoom out and see what happens now. For me, it suggests more continuation, you know. So let's see, you know, I don't know what to expect really from Powell. I mean, I don't think he's going to say anything incredibly surprising, but again, the markets have a way of moving one way or another. There'll be some whipsaw. There's always some sort of whipsaw move up, then an exaggerated move down, and then back up, and then it decides finally which way to go. But it's all about the close. So the candle tomorrow might look crazy across all the sectors. But what would be good if the miners have a green day, the metals have a green day. I would prefer it if the dollar has a green day. It'd be good if the metals go up with the dollar, actually, because then when the dollar drops finally, the metals will really take off. And I wouldn't mind the markets going down. So then we have, you know, miners and metals being one of very few sectors that are going up opposite to the markets, and the markets have a long way down to go. Let's finish off with, oh, by the way, support and resistance on GDXJ, just the last low. So 33.5. I don't see that happening in one go, but 33 is the absolute low, but 33.5, I expect to have support. That's pretty much gold at 1900. That's for the GDX, and for the GDXJ, the equivalent will be, sorry, that's the GXJ, and the GDX, we have a bit of a gap there, but ignore that. 27.5, you know, by 27.5, that's your low. Okay, finally, Bitcoin. Red day, down 1.5%. Not the biggest move for Bitcoin, but still a little significant. Suggests that Bitcoin is ready to go down with the markets. And I think the markets are going to go down. And to be honest, if you just remember the last 4, 5, 6, 7 candles of the markets, I can see some similarity. And I think just like the markets, you're going to have a little shoulder and flush. I think we're going to go back down, test 25. And I think as soon as you start testing 25 from Bitcoin, by the way, 25 would be a new low the last couple of days also. So even just above 25,000, once you start testing that, you're going to get some stops triggered, because the markets will probably be going down by then. And then all the traders will say, okay, markets are going to go down. Why would Bitcoin survive this drop? It's just been weaker on the way up. It's been just as weak on the way down. Technically, we know 25,000 is a stop out zone. I think you're just going to get a massive cascade down to 20,000, and that'll probably reverberate into the market. So for me, Bitcoin is starting to look pretty tied to the markets, and with the same fate destined for it in the short term, a move down. So yeah, just to recap, Bitcoin down, minus metals, pretty bullish. Let's see, maybe up with even the dollar going up. Dollar, we've got to wait until tomorrow, but today was very impressive. Up, bias to the upside, despite my predictions yesterday, which was a move down, but the opposite candle today is. But dollar, let's wait until the close tomorrow. Yields up, there no change in thesis. Markets and banks down, no change there. It's really just the dollar that surprised me. Otherwise, everything else exactly as I thought. NVIDIA included. I mean, I couldn't predict the earnings, right? I thought there'd be a surprise drop in earnings, but who cares? I don't even look at the balance sheet of NVIDIA. What do I know? But what I did predict, and what was most important, was the reaction, even if it was good. And that was this huge get me out of here, you know, smart money selling onto the retail. And that is probably the candle that signals the top in the bear market rally. And now, okay, it's not going to go down in one go, but very slowly down we go. we start to lose ascending and down, down, down. And to be honest, probably will fill the gap. If you start to close below 400, I mean, we're not going to go down to 380 and reverse and go up to 500. We're going to go to 380, bounce to 400, lose 380 and fill this gap. That might take several weeks, but NVIDIA, I think, is done. All right, let's see what happens tomorrow. Today is exciting, just like every day. Good luck.